Hi, Mom. Yes, I have shoes on. Please, anyways, please come pick me up, please. I'm really scared. The trees here, they're insanely weird. They're really creeping me out. The bad vibes are all over. It reminds me of the Azalea disaster, 2021. Mom, please come pick me up. I'm scared. Top of the morning to you, everybody. It's me, your boy, Waddles. Today is Mangrove Swamp Biome Part 2. Unless you live under a literal swamp, there's no way you haven't heard by now. Minecraft Snapshot 22w14a that dropped a couple days ago added a brand new biome to the game. A couple days ago, I dropped a snapshot video, and not gonna lie, it kind of went off. So big thank you to you guys. Today, we're gonna laser focus on Minecraft's newest biome and talk about it a little bit more. I have some experiments for you. I have some facts for you. I have some swamp for you. Big wild update hype. If that's you, definitely leave a like on this video. If you're new around here, hi, welcome, it's your boy. Consider subscribing. And it's swamp time. So the other day, when Snapshot 22w14a dropped out of Mangrove Swamp to Java Edition, there was actually the first 1.19 beta that dropped as well. I decided to not make a video on that beta for one gigantic reason. Warning, terrifying, disturbing things you're about to see. This tree. Oh no, it's happening again. It's happening again, oh no. According to Alexander, one of Minecraft's developers, this is currently a bug that exists inside of the Mangrove Swamp biome, so Azalea Wood fans rejoice because it's not happening again. On behalf of the developers, for the developers, I would like to apologize to you for your potential trauma. I don't know why they hurt you like this. It's sick, I know. Sliding over to the other version of the game, Java Edition. So the Java Edition Mangrove Swamp, if you saw the snapshot video, you're mildly familiar with these things. I have done it. The Mangrove Swamp biome, I finally found a good seed that is really, really big. This is a gigantic swamp. Check this thing out. It wraps around the plains biome right here, kind of goes over that way. There's a jungle somewhere near here. It goes all the way over to the jungle. This swamp is literally huge. If you're looking for the seed, there it is. There's the number right there. So this swamp biome, let's check this thing out. On the ground in survival Minecraft, this biome is dense. I think from my testing and like experimenting, exploration with this stuff, this has got to be the most dense biome in the entire game. Like, speaking of jungles, prior to the Mangrove Swamp biome, I would say that the jungle biome had the title of the most dense biome. I mean, there's melons and leaves and trees like literally all over the place, but the Mangrove biome, it's even more dense, and I think it's the darkest biome in the entire game too. Or at least like the darkest overworld biome. Of course, cave biomes don't count. Moving through this thing in the daytime, I mean, it's not bad right now. It's relatively bright, but once we flip things over to night in a little bit, you're gonna see this like really, really dark inside of this biome because it gets covered at certain points inside of this biome, depending on how it generates. You're not really gonna be able to see the sky very much, which is absolutely amazing, fascinating. What the developers have done with this biome is so good. This is like top tier work. And honestly, it makes all of the other biomes in the game, especially things like the plains biome, birch forest biome, puke, disgusting. This biome makes all of the other biomes, like, literally look plain. No pun intended. At all. In that initial snapshot video, I talked about the mobs that would spawn inside of this biome. I had a little bit of trouble inside of the first snapshot actually finding the frogs that should be spawning here. Here's a frog, except here's the thing. This is like the normal frog right there in the plains biome. If we go into the swamp biome, we should find the warm frog, which is going to be that colored frog right there. These frogs, aside from the one that I just spawned, naturally spawn inside of this world. So it seems like the Mangrove Swamp biome, if it generates like next to a different biome with a different temperature, you might actually be able to find some of these other frogs generating, which is kind of cool. I'm sorry, I got distracted with this frog. I mean, look at this thing. How could you literally not get distracted? I don't know what I was saying, but that's a nice looking frog. Clearly, as you can see here, bee nests will also generate inside of this biome, and then bees. So one small problem that I've been noticing with the bees inside of this generation, I think it has to do with all of the vines and maybe the lack of things to pollinate here, but they seem to get stuck on like a lot of things. Like they fly over to the trees and then just start flying and flying and flying and getting stuck. However, check this thing out. One thing that I have noticed is propagules. The propagule is like the main thing, or maybe even the only thing in this entire biome that the bees can actually pollinate. That's kind of cool. Maybe we could use bees to make like a more efficient propagule farm. I'm not too sure. I can't tell if this thing is actually going to speed up the growth of the propagule quite yet. But yeah, they pollinate propagules. Moving through this biome again on foot here, this part of the biome is really, really dry. Like we can see a lot of mud and we can see a lot of grass. Now we're going to talk about some improvements that I think need to be made to the biome in a little bit, but mud and grass right here. The mixture, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a harsh mixture here. I don't know if I fully like it. Like I said, we'll talk about some changes that I would make in a little bit, but the mud, the grass all over the biome, that's what you're going to find here. Unfortunately, the mud is only going to be one block deep though. Yikes. Alright, so next up a survival test, but not just a survival test in the middle of the night. So check this thing out. This biome is dark. I think this biome is going to be potentially insanely dangerous to navigate in survival, especially early game and at nighttime, because look at this thing. So of course we're gonna have to give it a little bit of time for, you know, like mobs to actually start spawning, but imagine yourself like running through this biome with mobs like chasing you, like creepers and things like that, and then these roots all over the place. Like, you're gonna find spots like this where you just get stuck and caught, and then the creeper unfortunately catches up to you and goes boom, and it's terrifying. The biome is definitely dangerous to navigate, but that's like amazing. I love this biome. It adds a little bit more danger to the overworld, and I just love it. I love it. I think it's something that Minecraft needs more of. Now, fortunately, as you maybe just saw there, one thing that I have been finding is the things inside of this biome, or at least the things near the ground inside of this biome, are very explodable. Like, if a creeper blows up, a lot of things get blown up and get out of your way, so then maybe you could just make that not happen again. But let's talk about clearing your way through this biome a little bit. So the hoe, what does the hoe do? It does pretty slow, that's what it does. How about the axe on these roots? The axe, 100% is going to be the way to clear out these roots if you need to go quick. This isn't exactly the point of this video, a little bit more maybe on like a mangrove tree video or something, but how about efficiency 5 and netherite axe with these roots? You can insta-mine. So you get one of these things, you can run right through this biome, just insta-mine stuff as you go. Maybe gather a bunch of this stuff for like building or farms or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the biome is dark and it's cramped, which leads to a potentially very dangerous experience. Another thing that I've been finding in a couple different mangrove biomes that I've generated is these small like puddles of water. They're kind of hard to show off, but yeah, I was just running through like a bunch of land and then I come across this small puddle of water. I really like it. It seems like on Java Edition, at least from what I've been finding in the different seeds that I have made, is basically it's like a lot more land-based than water. However, you can find a lot of water inside of these biomes. Another thing that you can find inside of these biomes, maybe you just caught it, is slime. Slime can actually spawn inside of this biome too. Now, of course, not the ideal slime farming situation, very cramped, you'd have to clear out a lot of space, but they can spawn here. Kind of interesting. The canopy is divisive within the community. Maybe you have your own opinions on it or what. My opinion on it is I love it. It's crowded, it's cramped, it's chaotic, and it's cool. It's different than the other biomes. I like this version of the mangrove forest when compared to the bedrock edition one. Wood type aside, I like the cramped version. If you look at a mangrove forest in real life, in fact, out of pure dedication for my craft, I've actually taken the time to travel all the way to the wasteland that is known as Florida for this video. Check this thing out. These are live feed videos, pictures of me inside of Florida right now. This is what it looks like, or at least this is what I feel like it would look like if it was a mangrove swamp biome. Yeah, so anyways, these places are chaotically cramped. Like, look at this thing. This is spot on Java Edition. To be quite honest, the fact that people think that this biome should be less cramped, maybe a little bit more like Bedrock Edition, is so narcissistic. To be honest, do you really think that all of these biomes in this game are generated with the fact of the player in mind? Like, the world's not centered around you. Look at these bees, they're moving fine. Yeah. I would like to send a big shout out to my Instagram gang. When I was working on this video, running experiments and everything like that, I made a story asking for specific experiments that I should run. The first experiment that I ended up running had to do with the witch hut. So what I've done for this experiment is created a single biome mangrove swamp world, which means it's all mangrove swamp. Basically, if I try and locate the swamp hut, then it should look around this entire world and see if it's here, and boom, there you go. So swamp huts cannot generate inside of the mangrove swamp biome. I had a couple other structure requests. What about a village? I wasn't too sure which one to go with here, so I went with plains. I figured it's the default, and no. Kind of like predictably, villages do not generate inside of this biome. But maybe you'll find yourself wondering about the villager inside of the normal swamp biome has this sweet outfit. Inside of this swamp biome has the sweet outfit too. It's literally the same outfit as the other swamp outfit. Look at this thing. It's really nice. A zombie swamp villager. There we go. That's what it looks like until it burns. Maybe down here is a better spot for that one. That's kind of what it looks like. And then villagers, yep, same thing. You don't have a job, so you always look the same. Very cool hat. So we have the swamp villagers, but unfortunately no swamp villages. I highly doubt that they will actually try and put a village in this biome. It seems like it's way more focused on maybe trees and things like that. But imagine coming to this biome and setting up a base. Like, you clear out some of the trees, set up a base, maybe underneath some of the tree canopy in here. Oh man, this would be like amazing. To me, right now, definitely a top 10 biome for bases. It'd be a lot of work, but it'd be sweet. Let's go ahead and try another structure. This time, let's try Ruined Portal. It looks like there's nothing. However, we have this right here. We have to get a little bit more specific. Ruined Portal Swamp. Absolutely. Ruined Portals 100% can generate in this biome. Found one of these things in the snapshot video. Found a second one right here. And actually, look at this thing. It's kind of perfect, like right on top of the hill right there. That's cool. Nice. Looking through the other structures that exist inside of the game, I think that's going to be it for the Mangrove Swamp. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Ruined Portal will be the only structure that you can find generating in this entire biome. Now, I'd like to end today's video with some thoughts on the Mangrove Swamp biome. What do I think? What should change about it? I've got a small list of things. The first thing that I think definitely needs to change here has to do with mud. Like mud, being a brand new block, being different to walk on, is really, really cool and all, but imagine coming to this biome, for mud, you dig it all up, and then the ground is literally dirt right below. Think about mud being 1 block deep, and then think about sand being 1 block deep. Imagine if sand was 1 block deep, and then there was literally just dirt right below it. I don't know. I feel like that would be a little bit weird. I feel like the mud definitely should be a couple blocks deeper, at least. Maybe like 3 or 4 blocks, not too much, but more than 1 for sure. If you disagree, that's fine, that's cool, but please explain this mountain to me and tell me that you think this mountain looks beautiful, gorgeous, and perfect. I mean, I get it that this is a mountain. Maybe it's a little bit different, but the mud being 1 block deep, it looks terrible, to be honest. Like, look at this thing on here. It looks weird. That's an extreme case, fine, but how about a hill? When we get a hill right here, this is a lot more normal, and again, terrible. You just have like these lines of mud on the top. The mud needs to be deeper. And also, I think the mud should be carried into the water at least a little bit here as well. So we have these clay patches in the water, that's cool. How about some mud patches under the water too? I mean, look, not that the biome needs to like look more unique. It's already insanely unique looking. But check this out. So we have mud under the water. Imagine seeing that under the water. I think it would make it look way more interesting than just like dirt, clay, gravel all over the place. An experiment for you if you have more time and you want to check it out. Find a Mangrove Swamp biome, go in creative mode, and swap a lot of the blocks out under the water for mud instead of dirt, and just check it out. I think it'll look really nice. Now, I'm not saying necessarily mud all over the place. Under the water, I'm thinking mud patches. That might be a little bit better, but mud. Aside from mud not being deep enough, there's another problem with the ground. The grass. I think the grass is a little bit random inside of this biome. I think we could either A, lose the grass, or B, crowd this up a little bit more. Let's take a look at the taiga biome right here. Compared to the new Mangrove Swamp biome, this is very boring, but I think there's something here that is like perfect. The fern. So inside of this biome on the ground, you'll be able to find grass generating and ferns generating. Sometimes the ferns are short, sometimes the ferns are a little bit more tall. The ferns don't get in the way. Of course, it's a plant, you can move right through it. If you break the fern, you just get seeds. It's a pretty basic thing. Essentially, it's a grass variant. So I'm not saying that the fern should be the plant here, but imagine plants generating throughout this biome like the fern, and maybe on this mud every so often. It will make the biome feel even more dense. Now, fern, yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's the right choice. I think there is a huge opportunity for like a reed or something like that. And let's say we went with this cattail type thing. It could essentially be just another grass variant, kind of like the fern. If you break it, you just get seeds sometimes. But then to make it a little bit more different than the fern, this cattail plant, I imagine it goes inside of the water as well. This is something that we talked about in a different video, probably like a month ago at this point. But yeah, I think it definitely needs a unique plant inside of this thing. That, or at the least, maybe ferns, maybe like sugar cane being able to grow inside of here, especially on the mud as well. Or maybe even, and I don't know if I'm a big fan of this idea, but thought I would put it out there. Imagine being able to plant bamboo on mud, except when you plant the bamboo on mud, it just doesn't grow. So it stays looking like this, adds a little bit of diversity to this biome. I don't know if bamboo is really the fit for this biome, but something like that kind of looks like this on the mud, I think it could be cool. This biome would definitely benefit huge time from a new unique plant that generates inside of this biome. I mean, cattails, them not adding these things, that's like the biggest missed opportunity of all time, aside from azalea wood. And then finally, I think this biome could benefit from a blend out as well. So the jungle edge biome, or whatever they call it nowadays, like where the jungle kind of fades out, I think that could be really nice in the Mangrove Swamp biome. Imagine as we get closer to the edge of this biome, the trees kind of like get a little bit less dense, so it's like you enter the biome slowly and it gets thicker and thicker, and maybe this whole like biome fade out thing would only happen when it's bordering water or something. I don't know. I think it could be potentially really cool to see. Like this whole spot in here is a great example. Imagine this place, but with a fade out, and then the fade out, it's Bedrock's Mangrove Swamp. So you go from that super dense Mangrove Swamp that we were just checking out, absolutely love it, to something that looks like this with apparently a million bees, but Yeah, you know, less trees here, to whatever biome comes next. Deeper mud, a new plant, and a fade out? Then I'd call this biome exactly perfect. But what do you think? And what do you think about all of the other things that we talked about in this video? Is there a different experiment that I should try out? Drop it down in the comments. And while you're headed down there, smash like, subscribe. I'd like to thank you all for all the support on the videos lately. It feels absolutely amazing. It's been great. I appreciate you. Patron gang, big shout out Andrew H, Gabriel Y, Paul P, and Fire Dragon 19. Mangrove Swamp, top 10 biome. It's been me, your boy. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.